This is Raleigh City Farm, a nonprofit urban farm located in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I started talking with the folks at the nonprofit in late 2019 about the possibility of coming here and becoming the farm manager and helping transform this farm into a beautiful part of the community that it is now. But when I met with them, the farm was in really rough shape. The main production area, the main field out here, was about 1/4 of an acre, and it was completely overgrown and mismanaged. There was really no structure to the beds, there was no irrigation system, and there were weeds pretty much covering every inch of this, and some of those weeds were pretty fierce. The main greenhouse was full of weeds and debris, and it just was not in a position to be growing food in there. So I like big challenges, and the biggest thing for me was that I had to decide, because I had been running my own farm for 2 years, and so in February of 2020, I decided to take the leap and close my farm and come run Raleigh City Farm. So as the title of this video says, and this sign, it's true, I'm closing Satin Hill Farm. So I'm here at the new spot. This is Raleigh City Farm in downtown Raleigh. I'm gonna be taking over the farm here as the farm manager, and we're gonna have an amazing farm here. In the past, Raleigh City Farm had been hosting for-profit farmers to come and run their farms on the land here. I was not personally interested in that. I wanted to help run the farm as one unit, as a non-profit farm. And that's what we decided to do. And the biggest leap of faith, and really the biggest challenge here, was that we were gonna do this all with volunteer labor. So I came on board February 1st officially, and February 1st we had our first official work day. A bunch of people showed up, and we cleared out the greenhouse. Serious group in here, a lot of energy. We're starting to clear out the tunnel. Got an old sink of some sort going out. These guys over here taking apart this nursery bench. So wow, what an amazing first work day. We just had an incredibly cool crew out here today with a lot of energy. All those engineers from NC State, and check out how much trash we really just generated just from in that tunnel and just around. It's just unbelievable. So we pretty much got everything out of here. There was this big nursery bench attached to the side. There was a bunch of old furniture in the back. We removed all of as much as the weeds and grasses that were in here as possible. We were really eager to get crops in the ground so we could get vegetables out to our community as quickly as possible. But like with everything in farming, there's always setbacks and there's always issues. All right, so it's a couple days later, and as you can probably tell, this video probably looks weird because there's no plastic on the top of the tunnel. And we had some really severe weather that rolled through all day yesterday and last night into this morning. Very high winds, a lot of rain. And so it took the top of the tunnel off. But we rallied, we overcame it. We got some new plastic, we reskinned the tunnel, and we got it planted. All right, so Lisa's untangling the rope here. And we got Rob up top here. Looks so funny with you sticking out of the top of the tunnel. All right, so we got the rope up and over the top ridge, and we're gonna start feeding the plastic over while pulling the rope. Hopefully this works. We'll find out. All right, here we are getting the last wiggle wire in on this ridge here. So someone's up top, someone's down low keeping it tight, but
we're wiggling it.
Wiggle, wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle.
Tunnel, for all intents and purposes, is ready to go. We're getting some kale transplanted right now. Rob and Gene are popping out plugs. After getting the production going in the tunnel, we focused our energy on the field. Now, in North Carolina, it's really safe to plant out in mid-April, so we had a little bit of time here, but of course, it came with its challenges. We had found a couple of bits of sidewalk just in the beds here. Two of them I had seen, but this one we just, found today, and literally, there was soil on this, and they were growing in this as this was a bed. I'm not kidding. We just literally shoveled off a few inches here to uncover it. So man, I really want to just show you guys some of the struggles here and the reality of trying to start a farm, especially an urban farm.
That's the depth right there, maybe 3 inches. That's all the soil you got on there.
And there's a bed on top of it. So this is very reminiscent of growing up in the Northeast and shoveling snow off sidewalks. Never thought I'd be shoveling beds off of sidewalks. All right, I think we're gonna look around a little bit more. It may seem like there might be another sidewalk, kind of just the way they're spaced out here.
You got one.
Are you serious, Gene?
Yep, right here.
All right.
Right here in the middle of a row. Here's a row right here.
So literally just right on top of it.
Yeah, right here.
All right, so we got now what, 4 sidewalks we found?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 right now.
All right, well, let's dig this one out. All right, so we got a couple of bigger pieces, and because of the, go ahead, Gene. Yeah. Nice, Gene. Look at how much rubble came out of those sidewalks. This was all in the ground underneath the beds. Just totally blown away. But what I'm really happy about is the soil out here is in great shape. It is almost black and there are tons of worms. Let's go take a look. All right, so yeah, look at the color of this. It just looks unbelievable. There's been tons of compost added over the years here. Definitely clay underneath, and it looks like there's a little bit of clay mixed in just by the texture of it, but lots of worms. Yeah, I mean, the whole place was covered in weeds, but the fact of the matter is photosynthesis was going on and there's active soil biology for sure. So, you know, having this here is going to be a great help moving forwards. Well, we got those sidewalks out and then we went on to leveling the field for our first round of preparation. The field prep happened in stages because we didn't need to plant the whole field at once. So part of the area we put tarps on the ground and that smothered out the weeds so that when we built beds we'd have a really clean start. The other part of the field we planted a cover crop, and the reason for that is that soil was some of the worst soil on the farm because it had been further from the center of the farm and had been used less. This helps bring back some of the soil health and soil biology. Of course, while all this was going on in the spring of 2020, COVID-19 came and a world pandemic started. I just want to share a few moments with you guys and talk to you about my thoughts about what's going on in the world right now. Take a step back for a second and think about, you know, what we can do as farmers. I think that in times of crisis, people will realize the important things in life. Some sort of basic stuff like food and health and other basic necessities. And I think as farmers, we can provide food. We can provide the things that people need to nourish their bodies. And I think that we as farmers can provide strength for the community. I recently talked with the board members at my farm, at the community urban farm that I work at, and I think we really want to focus on being that strength. We want to provide that, that healthy food for people. We want to provide that secure food. We want to be that place of strength and reliability for our community. And I think in this time of crisis, we can really provide that as farmers. The governor is going to be putting a stay-at-home warning in for the state of North Carolina. Get my bandana up here. I feel like I'm going to rob a stagecoach or something. Just kidding. COVID-19 has definitely made it challenging on the farm, and we have since then taken serious precautions of protecting the workers, volunteers, and our customers and anyone on the farm here. But it's been challenging because we couldn't get large groups of people together to help volunteer and help build the farm. But we worked around it and we figured it out. We have some volunteers here and we're going to stay under our 10-person max with the new guidelines. So I'm trying to be safe out here, but everyone's really excited to be out in the sunshine. Well, it's lunchtime, everyone's hanging out. Social distancing at its finest here. Enjoying pizza. One of the toughest things about getting this farm transformed into a productive commercial farm in such a short time period was the infrastructure projects, and the first of which was the irrigation system. Raleigh City Farm installed a very robust rainwater capture system on the farm, but there was no way to get the water out to the field. So we had to install a pump, trench out a line that goes out to the field, and then set up a full irrigation system. We have this unbelievable rainwater capture system over here that was installed a few years ago, and so it hasn't been used in a while. There's no pump for it, and we just got a pump we're going to be installing. So before we get into working on it today and trying to get that working for us on the farm here, let me first explain a little bit how it works. So this is a pretty hardcore system that was installed here, and I'm just very grateful that it's already here. The water is captured off of the buildings over here. There's stores, there's a restaurant here and some other stores, and so a fraction of the roof gets collected and gets piped down to this right here, and there's a filter in here, and there's also an overflow which goes out into our rain garden. And as the water gets filtered, it goes into this tank under here, and there's a pump in here with a float valve, and when the system over there in the tanks, there's a float in there too, and so when the water level drops, it tells this pump to turn on, and this pump will only turn on if there's water in here. So when it does rain, if there is space in the tanks up there, it will just pump the water up there. So this is all underground, very little maintenance other than cleaning out the filter, and yeah, collects a lot of water. There's a pretty good sized roof over there. First order of business is to remove some more concrete here so we can get a little bit more access to the plumbing and also make a level spot for the pump. So that's what we're working on first here, is just pulling out this concrete. So you always find surprises when you start digging, especially here at Raleigh City Farm. We got some big, I don't know, we can't really figure out what it is, but there's a big like cast iron pipe or something from ancient days probably.
Yeah.
But instead of disturbing it, we're just gonna kind of dig around it and then run our pipe below it. So let's get that dug out.
Yeah.
All right, so we're trenching across this way, and we hit those foundations which we found before. So we took a little bit of a turn, and yeah, I would say that we found the corner of the foundation. What do you guys think?
Right there for now. Right there.
So what we're gonna do is, instead of putting it in the location that we were talking about before, we're just gonna trench it straight back to that pathway over there, and that'll be fine. As long as it's in the middle of the field, we'll be good. So yeah, there we go. Corner of the foundation. Some gravel in the hole underneath here, and we'll put some gravel all around it, just so when the water does come out, it will not just get clogged up inside the dirt. So he's done with the machine, and we just spent, I don't know, a few minutes raking and pulling up more bricks, and this is what we got right now. Looking pretty solid. Gonna get the tarp back on it and call it a day. All right, got everything hooked up. I don't see anything leaking for now, so that's cool. This system is operational. We just got to keep an eye on it for when it rains, and make sure that, you know, the tank's filling up with water and everything's working. But the city water float's working, and the pump runs because we push water out to the field and everything. Should be good. We're gonna have to build an enclosure for this and then insulate it for the winter, all that kind of stuff. But for now, we got the big stuff covered. Yep, got drip in this block and overhead over there in that block. To run a successful commercial farm here, we needed a way to wash our vegetables, and there was no wash station set up, so we had to make that happen. The main, like, sort of pavilion or farm stand, or I don't know, we call it a lot of different things. It has this awning on the top here, which is not weatherproof, and it's also open pretty much on all four sides, and when it's raining, it definitely gets wet in there, not just from the top because it's just canvas, but also comes in from the sides. And it really can't have that for a wash station. We need to have it out of the weather, especially because we're gonna have fans for the drying screen, we're gonna have a pump, the washing machine, the salad spinner, all that stuff. We need to get it out of the weather. Plus, when the weather is poor and we're gonna be in there washing vegetables, we need to be able to get out of the weather as well. So, all important stuff. So, we've been for a while kicking around ideas about how to waterproof this area and close it in and stuff, but I think the better answer is to use this sort of side space, which was added on as an addition a while ago. You can see how it kind of looks different than the rest of it. And the nice thing is it's got a really solid roof. It's got a metal roof. There's also an electrical out in there, and there's also some lights in the roof there too. So it's actually pretty set up nicely, and those are like all outdoor rated stuff, so that's cool. So we got to get this closed in so we can start building the wash station. We need to get something that's out of the weather, and this is what makes the most sense. So what we're going to be doing is using metal roofing to close this in on 3 sides and leave it open over towards the main pavilion area. So we're getting the panels up on the long side here. We got 4 panels up right now and just screwing them in with those roofing screws that got the little gaskets on it. But things are coming together nicely. I think it's going to be awesome. So this is what it looks like inside. It's pretty much a metal box, as you guys would imagine, but it came out great. We're just about done. We'll finish it up in the next day or 2. And just to go over sort of the layout in here, we have the greens bubbler over here. This is the one I had for my house. We'll put the spinner over here. The drying screen with the fans over here, and then the pack station over here. So we'll have a nice circular flow, plenty of room for more than one person to work in here. You can see up here we got some space for ventilation, also lets a little bit of light in, which is great, but we're really out of the weather, which is important, not only for washing and packing, you need to be able to get out of the weather, but also for the equipment in here. So coming into the wash station, I'll show you what we've done so far. So we're building the drying screen here. The one I had at home before was 2 fans and it was about 4 feet wide. This one's gonna have 3 fans. It's gonna be about 6 feet wide. So we had to make it freestanding here just because of the constraints. So this, what you see in front, that's gonna be the screen, and it's gonna pivot in the middle like mine did, so it can be dumped out really easily. Got all the plumbing basically sorted out in here. So we got the bubbler and the salad spinner. Got our manifold up here. And the coolest thing is all of the drainage, which is never like a real sexy thing to show, but you know, it's super important. So we basically have the greens bubbler draining into this pipe here and the washing machine also. And then let me walk you guys around the back here. We also have the root station here, root wash station. And then over here, we got the root station plumbed in right there. Is that main drainage system. And then over here is where the drainage comes from the bubbler and the wash machine, and it goes out and around. So got everything hard plumbed in, super nice to have. Going to be really appreciative of this as the season goes along. You know, moving pipes around or things leak in or whatever. It's all set up and ready to go. So whenever you need to go wash vegetables, we'll have a nice setup in here. It'll be really nice and efficient, and you can just come in here and take care of stuff. We can crank a lot of vegetables through here. Bubbler on the spinner, drying screen, pack table over here. After their tarps had done their job, we started building beds out in the field. And the way that we do that is with a lasagna bed. So we put down a layer of cardboard and then compost, and we build our beds that way. It's a very labor intensive job, but it's very rewarding, and we were able to start planting right away. Got our first 2 beds prepped. We used the tilther and the rake like usual, and we're starting to transplant green onions. So we got Tessie and Kate back here, planting out our first beds at Raleigh City Farm out in the field. It's like immediate gratification with the transplants. It looks awesome. So green onions, we're also gonna do lettuce today. Well, just cruising today. Onions are in. I'm gonna start working on the lettuce now. Starting to get our field set up is just feeling really special, and you know, we've done so much so far. After we started planting on the field, it really felt like the farm had some momentum behind it, and we were sort of over that hump of just starting the farm and fixing everything. And we actually had our first farm stand here, which happened to be on Earth Day. It was just a beautiful day. So today is Earth Day, so it's a super special day as a farmer and on the farm here. And there's a lot of things we are proud of that we've done here in the past couple months. Today is gonna be our first farm stand. So our first official farm stand here at the farm, and we're just beyond excited to be able to open this up to our community. So take you along for a little bit of the harvest. Just opened. We have a bunch of people here from our community that are really happy to support us and are here to buy produce. Look at this crew out here.
Yeah, and the variety and the amount.
Just couldn't really be any happier. Just awesome to see the community support here, and this is what it's all about, is having people come here, support the farm, come to the farm and get the food where it's grown. It's just unbelievable. So it's been almost an hour since we've been open, and we're going to be doing these farm stands Wednesday nights from 4 to 7, and the response today has just been incredible. People stopping by from the community, and it just feels really special. Community support's been great. The weather's fantastic today. It's also Earth Day. It's just an awesome moment for Raleigh City Farm, and for myself, I just feel great about it. The line has emptied several times. It's been great. A lot of people coming through. I'm sure we'll probably be able to sell most of what we put out today for sale. Even had an old customer of mine come by from when I was doing home delivery, so that was just super special to see her. And just overall, just awesome. And I feel really grateful and really happy to be involved in the community here, and that we're open for business, and we're actually selling food to our community, which is what the goal is here. The response from our first farm stand was incredible, and we realized how much support our community had for what we were doing here on the farm. We decided to push out into the back part of the field a little bit faster and try to get things planted as soon as we could. I'm gonna try to grow as much food as I can this year. And from the response that we had at the farm stand here last week, I think that's pretty apparent with our community, and I think there's a big demand for it. So we're gonna try to push out a little bit faster, I think, than we anticipated. And I wanna go through some of those details with you. We've been doing this in 8-bed field blocks, and we got 2 blocks done over here, so A and B. And behind me here is block C, and behind that where the cover crop is, that's gonna be block D. And so this has been tarped for a few weeks. I'm probably gonna give it another month or so, and then we're gonna be building beds here. And I was gonna let the cover crop go longer out in block D, try to get the soil a little bit better and take advantage of it, but I think we need the beds. So I'm out here in front of those 2 blocks I was just talking about. This is block C with the tarp, and what will be block D with the cover crop. And unfortunately, we didn't let the cover crop get tall enough to get a lot of benefit from it, but the reality was we didn't want to buy plastic to cover the whole farm, which you know, will probably be more of a one-time use. So we're trying to just limit the amount of plastic that we're purchasing. And I'd rather just put plants in the ground and let biology happen. And so unfortunately we're not gonna get the full benefit from it, but you know, plans change and you gotta roll with it. Got it all mowed, we're gonna pull the tarp across. It's a little breezy today, there's only 4 of us. See how it goes. Well, there you have it. Phase 2 is underway. Block C and D are both covered, so we'll get to those when they're ready. So it's been about 6 weeks. We're gonna take the tarp off of Block C and get to it. Well, got the tarp out of here. I think it looks great. This was 6 weeks and this was pretty heavy, covered with cover crop we planted, but also a lot of weeds. I mean, this field has been covered with weeds for a long time, and we did do that light tillage that one time just to level it off. So it was pretty heavy cover. We did mow it before we tarped it, but this is 6 weeks of covering, and I think it looks pretty good. Put down cardboard everywhere, walkways and beds. Spray it down with water. Add compost in the beds and wood chips in the walkways. Here we go. So it's about 12:30 now, we're probably about 3 hours in. I think there's 9 or 10 of us here today, and we've gotten 5.5 beds done plus the hedgerow, and it's time to take a break for lunch, but check this out. It's just such a simple process, it's very satisfying, very quick. You just need a bunch of hands to get it done, but come back in a second and get this done. So we got 8 more beds and another hedgerow, so just fantastic. And so this takes the farm from 27 50-foot beds to 35 50-foot beds, and we have 2 more field blocks to build out here. So if you take a look at this overhead view, you can get a real good sense of how the farm's progressing, and we'll get to the last 2 blocks probably in the next couple weeks. We're really excited about filling out the whole field, and it's just an amazing feeling. I know that this field really hadn't been used, at least in its entirety, in years. This back half has really just been neglected and just kind of been hanging out. So the farm just feels so much bigger. It's just unbelievable. Most of the farm is built out at this point, and we have a lot of stuff planted, and it just feels like we are in full operation at this point, and it feels unbelievable. Beautiful day today. We're gonna be doing sweet potatoes. Our last block, which we built a few days ago, Block D, we're gonna plant out. Kate's over here popping them in, working down the row. Shouldn't take us too long to get all these beds done, but probably get, I don't know, 6, 7 beds. We'll see. Hopefully we have 8 beds available, so we're gonna do as many as we can. All right, we got all that planted out, and we got 6 beds, which is great. You know, as I said before, we did finish building out the farm, and it just looks unbelievable. And it just puts me back to, you know, early February when I started, February 1st, and what this field looked like. And it's just, man, it's just awesome. But having a lot of these beds built out and planted, especially with the long season crops, is awesome. I mean, over here, you know, we got the sweet corn, which is doing great. And I'm really excited about the sweet potatoes. Even though this is a non-profit farm, I really wanted the farm to be an efficient and professional farm. Just because we're using volunteer labor does not mean we can't be efficient with our time. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think we should be really efficient with our time, because that's what our volunteers are giving us, is their time. So we want to make the best use out of it. One of the main reasons I helped to make sure that that would happen was based on the layout of the farm. I used my last few years of experience on my own farm and visiting a lot of other farms to lay out this farm. The layout of the farm was not just for efficiency, but also for aesthetics. I really wanted a beautiful farm so that we could be a really nice place in our community, attract customers for our farm stand, and just be an awesome place for people to work. We do this by having really clean lines, keeping it weed-free, and keeping healthy plants. The most amazing part about this whole project has been the volunteers. We couldn't have done it without them. We have some summer interns, and we also have some regular volunteers, and some volunteers that come by and help on big days when we need a couple extra sets of hands. This has been such an amazing transformation, and I hope that Raleigh City Farm and the community around us will benefit from this for years to come.